Pendlebury, so much time and space, and his skills are so perfectionist.
Pendlebury with poise.
Pendlebury magically through traffic.
The Rolls Royce.
The calm and grace of Scott Pendlebury. Twists, he turns. He's still got the magic.
Pendlebury, he slows time.
Pendlebury, he's got time and space.
Pendlebury, he just amazes everybody. Scott Pendlebury.
Picked. Pennels waltzes his way through them. Slows time. Pendlebury. The Rolls Royce.
Selection 5, Collingwood.
Player number 110921, Scott Pendlebury, Gippsland Power.
Derek Owen, 2005 National Recruiting Manager, the year that Scott was drafted to the Collingwood Football Club. It was one of my first years in the role, and I distinctly remember a game down at Monash University where Scott played. I think it was his first game post exiting the AIS Basketball Academy, and it became pretty evident really early in the piece how Scott was able to quickly assimilate into the pathway, if you like.
Here's Pendlebury, the young man that we've dubbed the Nick Dal Santo lookalike.
His ability and his composure in traffic, everything that you see today and everything you've seen over 400 games of AFL footy was evident from virtually day one.
Held onto the football a long time. Got it to Pendlebury. Right goes the punch. Flipped over the top by Ryan. Here's Pendlebury on the left.
From our perspective, he just grew into the year, and as the year progressed, there was Vic Country, and he just elevated his position on the draft board, I suppose, if you like.
Distance was Ross. It came to Jones. Quick kick under pressure. Chance for Pendlebury on the left. Lines it up. Measures it. Goes for it. And kicks it.
And it culminated with both Scott and Dale playing in the grand final and a successful grand final for Gippsland Power.
We knew we were going to try to get him. It was a little bit of a bit controversial in many respects because he was a basketballer.
I remember talking to Scotty throughout the year and in the interview process that football wasn't really on the radar. It was having a kick at lunchtime at school and all those sorts of things. It was always basketball, basketball, basketball.
We had 2 early picks. Dale Thomas was hopefully going to be our first pick, and Scott Pendlebury was hopefully going to be the second pick.
The market, I suppose, it probably saw Scott a little bit further back in that particular draft.
And that's Derek Hines' vision, if you like, that he can have a look at that and see a player roll out for as many games as you should when you're a first round pick. I don't think there's so few that have gone 400, no one would have said 400 games.
I don't think he thought he was coming to us, and I certainly don't think he thought he was coming to us as early as what he did.
Pendlebury, as you mentioned, perhaps a little surprised that he was taken so early.
I distinctly remember post-draft, just driving down St Kilda Road, it come across the radio that we'd monumentally made a mess of the draft. So, I suppose you'd like to be making those sorts of mistakes every year, wouldn't you?
No, I was expecting to go between the 15 and 30 bracket around there, and to be called out number 5 was just awesome, just felt so good.
So I had an idea what sort of player he was, but didn't have a great idea what sort of person he was. So I didn't realise how good or bad he was going to be.
He had this quiet little bit of respectful arrogance, if that makes sense. You could just tell he had a bit of a presence about him.
He had glandular fever between the Christmas and the New Year break, so he was laid up for a significant period of time.
He missed a lot of training and wasn't around a lot for, I think, that first year.
He didn't play till round 10 in 06 due to the glandular fever.
Buckley, if anyone can find a target in there, it's him. Young Pendlebury stands up. Basketball background. He joins the club.
You sort of think then, you don't really know. We have no idea what we've got.
First kick, first goal. Scott Pendlebury.
I think he was probably slow in embedding himself in the first sort of 18 months or so.
He approached me after his first season, 06. He asked if he could train with me throughout his first proper pre-season. What I loved about Pendles was most young blokes would want to train with a few of us older guys, but they last 2-3 sessions and that would be it. I remember it was probably week 2, Scott and I went in the altitude room and we did these 500 metre efforts. I half tried to make him vomit after this session, and I think we did maybe 8 500 metre sessions after a big session outside, and it was the other way around. It was almost like, mate, if we don't stop, I'll probably vomit. What Scott did quicker than anyone else was he understood the environment he had to be in to be the best footballer he could be. So not just skills, you know, diet, recovery. He wanted to be pushed.
Chip. Started the game, second semi-final.
There was a particular game where there was extra time.
It was 07 when they had the draw over in West Coast.
Buckley did well, Midhurst from 50, beautiful looking kick. Goal! Nothing! Umpire lets them play. Didak 55 metres out, senses the vacant square. This will go through. Collingwood in front. One of the biggest kicks of his career. He splits the middle. They're in front again. The lynch it is. We're going to overtime.
You know, Daisy, Swanee and Pendles just took over.
To 6:45 local time. Richards taps it down. Thomas came hard, still going. Clever. Thomas found it on the sort of way to Midhurst. Across it comes to Brian. Collingwood lead. Get away from Clark, taken by Thomas. Selwood got him. Clark's over the football. Just keeps it going. Well played to Clark. This could be the ball game. Nobody is up ahead. Pendlebury, the youngster, goes in and kicks the goal. Collingwood look like marching on.
So 15 months after playing his first game, Pendles was already influencing games, setting games up, making teammates better. So that happened really quickly.
It's the young legs of the Pies that are actually getting them or keeping them in front of the West Coast Eagles.
Second year and 20-odd touches and was quite composed and kicking that last goal to get us the win.
Too much to look forward to for Collingwood. I mean, you think of Pendlebury and Clark and Cloak and Thomas in the last 5 minutes.
Swan's got it. Pendlebury about 40 metres out. Back to Swan. Well, this will be the icing on a black and white catch. Collingwood are through.
After that, you could just start to see the little bits start to come together in the class and the way you use the ball and the way you can find space.
It's pretty recognised that with a top-line basketball pedigree, you seem to be able to find space.
Pendlebury again. He's got nice composure and confidence in himself.
Nice skills from Pendlebury.
Just about to get closed down, so you're preparing for the ball to come back your way as a defender, and then all of a sudden 3 people haven't been able to lay a finger on him and he's kicking the ball on the forward line.
So no matter how quick, slow or whatever you are, the game around you doesn't go past you. And Heath is beautiful. The time and space is absolutely his greatest asset.
30-20, Pendlebury, closing goal, Collingwood.
In his preparation, from his food to the way he gets massages and physio to the way he trains, the way he does weights.
There'd be players who would do it, but then would complain their back was sore, so they couldn't do tomorrow, and then drop off. Whereas Pendles was really proactive, so it wasn't just the physical side of it or the football side, it was everything. His living habits, how he could become the best footballer he could be.
I feel like there's no surprises in his performance and things because he just puts so much time and effort into it.
Just very specific in the way he goes about things.
Everyone just sees Pendles out on game day, and for me, I get to see how much he puts into his game.
Wonderful goal. Strongly kicks it towards half forward. Dawes brilliantly. Pendlebury to the square. Mark is taken by Clark.
Back inside to Pendlebury. Side bottoms on.
By then, Pendles had established himself with Swanee and Daisy and a couple of others through the midfield. You know, nearly as premier players already.
The Anzac Day medal in 2010, Scott Pendlebury.
The winner of the Norm Smith medal in 2010 is Scott Pendlebury from Collingwood.
Takes probably sacrifice, hard work, dedication. If you ask Pendles, he wouldn't call them sacrifices. He's doing what he loves.
Specifically with Scott, he certainly pulls all those 1%ers together, and that's made him the player that he is. think a few years in, once he started to establish himself as a player, I grabbed him like Nathan Buckley and James Clement had done for me and just said, look, I think you should nominate yourself for a leadership group and be part of it because you've got real opportunity with the way you go about it with all the younger players.
Go, actually, kick. Stay there, Tay, organise!
For them to see what you're capable of.
Like a centre bounce. Go, Brody!
It was pretty evident early days that he had that capability.
Hey, settle down. New ball.
Obviously from there, he just continued to improve, continued to take on more and more, and then from there became the captain that he was, and obviously the leader that he is.
G'day Magpie Army, Scott Pendlebury here. I'll be the captain for the upcoming season of the Collingwood Football Club. It's a huge honour to represent the football club, and I'm very much looking forward to leading the boys out, come March.
Probably took a few years for me and Dip to become really tired, and probably after 2012 when the side sort of started to tail off a bit, and I think at that stage the team was looking for some leadership, and Pendles has clearly been a big driver in that.
Yeah, well, as an opponent, first and foremost, like we do opposition obviously at every club that you do, but a lot of it was spent on how are we going to manage Scott Pendlebury.
3 to the captain, and he should get 3 votes. Poetry in slow motion, Scott Pendlebury.
Pendlebury created his own space, moved by standing still.
A bit of basketball's goes on Pendlebury. Clever.
Pendlebury, everything stands still around him. That's a captain's goal.
Pendlebury gets away from them delightfully through traffic.
He controls the game in every aspect. Luckily enough, I see it firsthand now for us, but his ability to be able to make his teammates impact the game. So anytime he touches it, generally gives it to another guy in a better position or just brings his teammates into the game. And I think that's a huge strength of his.
And we marvel at Scott Pendlebury once again.
I just always look for him for guidance or where I need to be, and I'm definitely not the only one out there.
An individual as mature, as sure of himself and as capable as a Scott Pendlebury, you do rest a lot easier knowing that the troops are in great hands.
But when the pressure's on and there's 100,000 people there, do you know it then? And I think that's why Pendles has been such a great leader, is because, as I sort of talked about, he's very sort of level, and when the pressure is on, he's still composed and can almost take everything out of it. It doesn't ride the waves of the game too much, and one of the reasons why he's been able to be a good leader.
When I first got to the club, he was a pretty ruthless character. Like, he was pretty full on.
If anything, back then, he was probably a bit more straight. He was just probably like 90% professional back then, and I helped him loosen up a little bit and have a bit more fun.
Just his intensity, and maybe it comes back to his aura and his presence. Like, he was pretty intimidating, didn't give a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a level of intensity that he had maybe years gone by around it, the attention to detail.
I think when you talk about presence on field, there's certainly like a bit of aura around him. Walking up the race, generally you see a bit of the blue sky break, and then you see the crowd start packing out, but then a lot of the time I was probably just a few layers back, but then you see number 10 lead us out first, and I think you can't help but just get that extra pep in the step, knowing that he's walking us out and we're all in behind him. I just think he would always lead from the front. Everyone wants to play as consistent as you can, but I don't think you get a more consistent performer than him. You try and do your absolute best to emulate what he does.
To that opening goal, to Gully, back to Pendlebury, and then Pendlebury, oh so clever. Pendlebury made it sit for him. Trelaw back to the champ. Pendlebury's kicks a beauty, and to Gully.
Pendlebury trying to get onto his left side. They let him get there, and what a couple of minutes he's had.
Pendlebury, oh so clever. To Pendlebury, there's plenty of time.
To superstar Pendlebury, handles again, clean-handed, the champ that he is.
I can sign your ball for you. What do you want me to write on it? Do you want me to write Scott on your ball?
I think since he's had kids, he's really opened up more as a person, and sort of maybe even let a lot of people see the other side of Pendles.
Ever since Jax came around, first kid, it's like it almost opened up this side of him that's like, I hate using the word softer, but it's just more warm.
I think he's, if anything, softened some of that stuff and realised how the value of most things versus all things.
Which we've all grown to love.
You felt a bit more encouraged to be drawn to him, and obviously Darcy came along as well. And you've only got to see the way that his kids are around him. Like, they're so up and about. They just love hanging around him, and him and Alex have done an incredible job to raise both of those kids.
He comes in as a 17-year-old, and to see him grow into a man, and with Alex and the family, and that it's quite unique.
To become a husband and a father, and to see him now with the kids, I think that's probably means more to me, to see him in that perspective and see what that means to him over another milestone, which he's had plenty.
I think Scott, the person and the father, is an element of success that shouldn't be underestimated.
It's really, really warming to watch him with the kids after the game. The grand final is definitely one that I won't forget anytime soon.
The version of him today is not the version of him 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. He openly talks about that.
Winning a grand final, I think for him, having kids, that was just super special, because those memories, being able to share them with the kids and the family, can't ask for much more than that.
His goal in the grand final, he kicked a clutch goal against Geelong in a final.
You look for someone to stand up and take lead of the game, and it's him again.
But his impact in moments is bigger than I've seen.
He's performed at a high level that's unprecedented. No one's ever seen someone do what he's done, where I think it's 18 years, 15 top 3 best and fairest.
When the moment arises, am I surprised? No.
The game itself is hectic and chaotic and fast, and he has his ability to just sell little. You can have a little bit of that, and you can have a little bit of that, and it just gives him time.
He's always almost a step ahead of the game before everyone else, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but he's not the quickest bloke out there.
If you want to upset the orchestra, you've got to go after the conductor, and I've not seen a conductor like Scott Pendlebury.
He's like moving pieces around, almost playing chess on the oval. He's been talked about as being like an on-field coach, but that's exactly what he is.
So it's never really about speed, which most people over time, speed gets you. Yeah, I want to play for 18 years, yeah, but you've got to perform. So then there's layers of all that time and space. He just stands still when he has the ball.
Pendlebury, he's got time and space.
35 years old, to think that he's still putting performances out like that at his age is incredible.
Big moment, big game player, Scott Pendlebury all the way.
Pendlebury on his favoured left side, sizes it up and drills the goal. Game 300 for Pendlebury.
Pendlebury already has one. He found that left. He twists, he turns. He's still got the magic.
Pendlebury takes him on left foot around the corner. He had a ball jumping every inch way.
Running to 50. The champ, long and through.
To get there, you have to be super dedicated, you have to do all the hard work, you have to do all the rehab and the mobility, and I see firsthand that he does that stuff pretty much every day, and I think to make 400 really just celebrates that.
Is he the Magpies' best player of all time?
Well, of course he is. You put him up in is he the greatest player that Collingwood's ever produced?
Yeah, I feel like I'm so fortunate that, so many people would give up so much to be in my shoes and to be able to play alongside Pendles for all these games. As I said, I definitely don't take it for granted. I feel truly lucky that I ended up at Collingwood all those years ago.
If you look at his accolades, which I don't think we really appreciate yet, 6 All-Australians, 5 Copeland trophies, he's 3 times Anzac Day medal, a Norm Smith, and more importantly, 2 times Premiership player, and 400 games. Does it get any better than that?
Clearly, he's going to be a Hall of Famer in due course.
I would have him firmly sitting on the top.
Definitely the greatest player that Collingwood has had.
He's had so much of an influence in so many people around the country and around the world. So many kids have worn that number 10 on their back.
We owe Scotty a lot for what he's done for the footy club. He deserves everything that comes his way.
It won't be till he retires that we'll really be able to appreciate all that. It's such an amazing effort.
yeah, one day it's going to come to an end and it'll feel very weird.
But I just think his influence on the AFL in general, I think people will speak about him for 100 years, so that's a pretty good legacy.
The calm and grace of Scott Pendlebury.